Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Zoro's most powerful sword is finally coming to One Piece, and you won't believe what it is. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment below which One Piece sword you'd want me to gift you. So I think if there's a moment in the manga where things really started shifting for Zoro, it's right after the Wano arc. And I'm not just talking about that insane fight against King, or the moment when Enma nearly made his arm vanish like it was nothing. I'm talking about Zoro as a character. You can feel it. He's getting more and more of that legendary swordsman aura. It's been building for a while, but now it feels like Oda's basically saying he's going to get there, no question about it. And that's where this idea of a twin sword to Yoru comes in. Think about it. Yoru, one of the 12 supreme grade swords, is this unique all-black blade that looks like a giant, menacing crucifix, but also somehow stylish. But what if it's not literally one of a kind? What if it has a twin, made from the same mold, forged with the same material, but it's been lost, forgotten, or sealed away all this time? I think Oda might be setting the stage for something huge here. Zoro is clearly on the path to surpassing Mihawk. And how insane would it be if, instead of just defeating Mihawk, he ends up wielding something Mihawk never even had? The twin blades, Yoru, and its long-lost counterpart. That would turn Zoro's three-sword style into a visual and narrative peak. Just imagine it. Enma at his waist, and the twin Yorus in each hand. That would be the ultimate version of Santoryu. Chapter 10. 90 really got me thinking about this when Vegapunk talks about black blades and how they react to certain hockey patterns. Remember? He mentions that some swords become permanently black through repeated use of armament hockey. Mihawk's Yoru is already a permanent black blade, but Zoro's still in the process of getting there. And that's what sparks this idea. What if Yoru's twin wasn't black to begin with and has been waiting all this time for someone worthy to complete it? Maybe this sword got lost in time, hidden in a land sealed off by the world government for reasons no one fully understands. Maybe it's like a true legendary weapon, another one of the 12 supreme blades that hasn't been seen in ages. Even the Shodai Kitetsu, another supreme grade sword. We have no idea where it is. What if Yoru's twin was a sister blade that was never properly wielded? I think Oda could use this to give Zoro a major visual and symbolic upgrade before the final showdown with Mihawk, or even Shiryu, if that's the route we're going. Chapter 9. 55 made me think hard about this. When Tenguyama gives Zoro Enma and tells him it was once Odin's sword, Zoro doesn't fear it. He respects it, but he's not scared. Even when it almost drains all his haki, he doesn't let go. He just grins and holds on. That's not just brute strength, that's compatibility. It's like the sword was always meant for him. Now, imagine a sword on the same level as Yoru, its twin, hidden in the ruins of some ancient fortress or a lost temple in Elbaf, maybe even on the island of the gods, depending on where the story goes. It could be sealed in a pedestal that only reacts to Conqueror's Hawk, and the moment Zoro touches it, the blade responds, changes color, and becomes a black blade too. That would mark Zoro's rise, not just to rival Mihawk in skill, but in symbolic and visual power. In chapter 1058, when Zoro's bounty increases and he's called the King of Hell, I don't think that's just a nickname. I think it's a setup for his final form, maybe even a visually darker, hockey-enhanced version of himself, mastering the black blades. And the twin to Yoru? It could have a name that fits the theme, something like Kuru Heiwang, meaning Dark King, matching Yoru's aesthetic perfectly. Picture it. Mihawk wields Yoru, the strongest swordsman in the world, and Zoro finds Kuro, its sibling blade that never had a true master. That's practically a narrative invitation to their final duel. Chapter 10. 53 is another piece of the puzzle. Ryokugyu says, without haki, nothing works here. And that gets me thinking, what if this twin blade only responds to a specific kind of haki? Not just raw strength, but unbreakable will. That kind of spirit only Zoro has. The kind that gets back up after taking 1,000 hits and still promises never to lose again. Maybe the sword has been sealed away because no one ever proved worthy of it. What if Mihawk is the one who leads Zoro to it? As a final test, imagine the scene, a hidden location, the twin blade resting on a pedestal, and Mihawk says, this sword was made to walk alongside Yoru, but I've never found anyone worthy until now. That would be absolutely wild. Let's be real, Zoro isn't going to end One Piece using the same swords he started with. He already lost Yubashiri, then got Shusui, then switched to Enma. Each sword represents a stage in his growth, so it only makes sense that in the final phase, he wields truly legendary blades. I think this twin to Yoru could be the ultimate confirmation of his journey, a weapon that takes his swordsmanship to the next level, because it's not just about strength, it's about purpose. It's like this sword was made to seal his destiny as the swordsman who will protect Luffy until the very end. And in chapter 1060, when Luffy reveals his dream and Zoro just smiles without questioning it, you can feel the absolute trust he has in his captain. Maybe this twin blade is a physical manifestation of that loyalty. a legendary sword, wielded by someone who fights not for glory or fame, but for something greater. Let's be honest, Zoro's been due for an upgrade. He carried Wano on his back at times, held back Hakai like it was nothing, and now it really feels like the next step is entering the hall of the most legendary swordsman in history. If Yoru is one of the 12 supreme grade blades, and its twin has been lost, maybe it's the mysterious 13th, or maybe it was registered under a different name to hide the connection. Maybe it was used during the events of the Void Century, and that's why the world government buried it. Who knows? But I believe Zoro will find it before the final battle, and when that happens, the comparisons will end. He won't just be the next Mihawk, he'll be the first Zoro, the one who reached the top entirely on his own, and that sword will be part of it. If there's one thing One Piece has always done well, it's showing that every character has a journey, and in Zoro's case, that journey is getting more and more epic. The idea that he might find a twin sword to the Yoru isn't just exciting, it's almost as if Oda himself has been dropping hints about it all along. After all, Zoro's journey goes beyond simply being strong. He's growing into a legend. Think about it. Mihawk is already the greatest swordsman in the world and wields one of the 12 supreme swords, the Yoru, which is sinister, all black, stylish, and powerful. If Zoro is going to surpass him, it's not enough to just win in a fight. He needs to get there for real, with style, with a story, with that presence that leaves everyone in awe. And nothing would make more sense than for him to find a sword of the same level, maybe even made alongside the Yoru, but lost, forgotten, or sealed away by someone long ago. Picture the scene. Zoro enters an ancient temple, a sword stuck in a pedestal, surrounded by a mysterious aura, maybe even protected by some sort of haki or curse. And then, only someone with an absurd willpower can pull the sword. And of course, who is that person? Zoro. He pulls it out, the blade reacts, maybe even changes color, and bam! The legend begins. Not only is he wielding a legendary sword, but two of them, and he still has Enma at his waist. Visually and narratively, it would be the pinnacle of the Sentoryu style. And it wouldn't just be about strength, but because Zoro has already shown multiple times that he has what it takes: courage, loyalty, honor, and that relentless will to never give up. When Mihawk defeated him in the beginning, Zoro swore he'd never lose again. And since then, he's been keeping that promise with everything he's got. He doesn't want to be the best just out of pride. He wants to be the best because he promised Luffy he'd protect him to the end. And that changes everything. This twin sword, if it exists, could symbolize that. The recognition that he doesn't fight for fame, but for a purpose. That he doesn't need to imitate Mihawk. He'll be his own Zoro, with his own story, his own style, and his own legendary swords. And let's be honest, if anyone in One Piece deserves a super powerful hidden sword waiting for them, it's Zoro. The guy took on Hakai, got hit by Kaido, faced King, all while his arm was practically about to fall off. It's long overdue for him to get a gift like that. So if Oda is saving this surprise for us, a legendary sword hidden in Elbaf on a world government island, or even revealed by Mihawk himself, it's going to be amazing. Not just because it'll power up Zoro in combat, but because it'll show that he reached the top not by copying anyone, but by staying true to who he's always been. Zoro with Enma, Wado Ichimonji, and a twin sword to the Yoru? That's when we'll see the true birth of the King of Hell, and he'll slice through any obstacle in Luffy's path to the throne. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.